Ladies and gentlemen, I am Andy Epix, and welcome to Vandenberg Air Force Base, California. Tonight at Vandenberg Air Force Base, an Epix 1 launch vehicle is fueled and ready to launch the scansat 1 mission. And we have autopilot engaged, T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, solid motor ignition, and liftoff of the Epix 1 launch vehicle with scansat 1 going into polar orbit to scan the Earth, providing information to the Kerbals about the Earth. The Realistic Design Bureau took the Epix 1 and upgraded it with 2 solid rocket motors for this mission. This is just for the mission. As I've noted, these 2 solid rocket motors are just being used for the mission. As the spacecraft continues to fly, the gravity turn is in. The pitch, yaw, and roll maneuvers are in progress. The roll maneuver has started to roll the spacecraft and its 2 solid rocket motors onto the correct heading. Roll maneuver is complete. Spacecraft is now on the correct heading. This is not the Epix Heavy launch vehicle. This is the Epix 1 launch vehicle. The Epix Heavy launch vehicle uses longer solid rocket motors and a shorter Centaur. Acceleration is decreasing for some reason. The spacecraft is continuing to climb out of Vandenberg Air Force Base, California, towards an apoapsis of 350 kilometers. Altitude currently 6 kilometers and increasing. The spacecraft is continuing to fly nominally. Acceleration appeared to have dropped off and is now increasing again. Spacecraft is through the speed of sound. T plus 50 seconds after liftoff. Still going strong. The spacecraft leaving its smoke trail as it climbs out of Vandenberg Air Force Base. This scansat will use... The spacecraft is still climbing. Altitude is now 16 kilometers. Smoke trail visible there behind the spacecraft as the 2 solids continue to burn. As the spacecraft continues to accelerate down to 3 units of fuel, down to 3,000 solid fuel remaining. As the acceleration has now passed the surface, as the surface speed has now passed acceleration. And as the surface speed and acceleration continue to climb in their designated arcs, we're through 25 kilometers. Downrange, 8 kilometers. Velocity, 900 meters per second. Increasing velocity nominal. Thrust is nominal. Spacecraft is continuing to fly nominally. No anomalies detected so far in the flight. two solid rocket motors continuing to burn their P-band nominally. I do not know what P-band stands for, but it's the same fuel that's used in the Space Shuttle main engines. Or the Space Shuttle solids, sorry, the Space Shuttle main engines burn liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen. Thrust is dropping off on the two solids, down below, approaching the 1,000 kilonewton mark. Down below 1,000 kilonewtons of thrust on the two solids, standing by for booster separation, which should occur in about 3 seconds. And we have booster sep. The two solids have separated from the launch vehicle, and the vehicle continues to gain speed at 1 kilometer per second. The Epix launch vehicle burning aerosine and aerosine 50 and nitrogen tetroxide. The spacecraft is flying nominally. No anomalies detected so far in the flight. Final roll maneuver in progress. Apoapsis of 169 kilometers. Still launching into a 300-kilometer orbit. Down to about a quarter fuel remaining in the first stage tank. I received a buzz for some reason on my phone. I should probably check that. See what it is. Velocity is increasing. Spacecraft has hit the 2 kilometer per second mark at 127 kilometers, standing by for fairing sep. Approaching fairing separation, and we have fairing sep. The fairing has separated from the launch vehicle. The fairing falling away. Apoapsis of 194 kilometers. And increasing. Thrust is nominal. We have 2,000 kilonewtons of thrust. Thrust is nominal. As once the first stage has separated, we will go into our Centaur phase, the RL-10, which again I forgot to make an RL-10C. We have LR-87 booster nominal. Boost stage is nominal. Telemetry shutdown is confirmed. T plus 3 minutes, 38 seconds into the mission. As we switch to our flight control and descent guidance units. Inclination of 85 degrees. Apoapsis of 230 kilometers and increasing. Staging. And good ignition on the RL-10. Centaur engine powering up. The Centaur stage has powered up to power. Prepare spacecraft initiating antenna targeting sequence. Targeting Americasat. That should say Americasat 1. and AsiaSat-1. Targeting two of the geostationary communications satellites. The Centaur has begun a roll. RCS is going to begin its work. RCS should stabilize the roll. Spacecraft is still building up velocity. We have a very low thrust and a very low thrust to weight ratio now, but we are still building up velocity at 4.1 kilometers per second. As we continue to climb, the onboard battery being used nominally. The spacecraft is still performing as expected. Apoapsis 275 kilometers. We are 3/4 of the way there. Beginning second antenna deploy now. Activating the second antenna, which is pointing at AsiaSat, which is over here. AsiaSat-1. And there's AmericaSat-1. And then there's ComSat-1, which needs to be replaced, which is over the Middle East. Approaching Centaur, approaching SECO. The Centaur engine will cut off, and we will coast to apogee for the second Centaur burn. We are at 6 kilometers per second, 7 kilometers per second surface speed. Approaching Centaur engine cutoff as we approach an apoapsis of 300 kilometers. And if this satellite were to remain suborbital, it would impact on the side of the Russian in Eastern Europe. Stand by for shutdown, and we have shutdown confirmed. Good shutdown on the Centaur. Centaur and satellite beginning its orbital adjustment to maneuver node. Flight computer initiated. Pointing at the maneuver. Negative, 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 negative. Flight computer has aborted the maneuver. As we lock into our node and engage the autopilot, we are standing by. We are into the coasting phase. We should lose some units of liquid hydrogen, but not enough to affect the burn. And we have circularization burn start. Approaching Centaur engine cutoff. We are halfway through the burn. Communicating through the Kodiak Island Space Center. In someplace. And we have shutdown. And stability engaged. And separation of scansat 1. The satellite is beginning its fly-off procedure from the Centaur over the Arctic. As we begin deploying as the satellite begins its full deployment. Spacecraft is performing an orbital trim maneuver. Maneuver is complete. And we have start of the scan. Satellite has deployed. And we are going to begin to acquire scanning data from Kerbin. Falling away there is the Centaur upper stage. Pictures being taken of the satellite now are all simulated view. As the satellite comes into the daylight side, pictures of the satellite orbiting above Kerbin. Orbiting above Earth, sorry. As we begin passing over Russia. Now the Russians might think this is a spy satellite. The Kerbals have assured them that the Kerbals are a peaceful race and would never do anything to spy on another hostile nation. However, governments might acquire Kerbal launchers to use them to launch spy satellites, and that is not forbidden by the Kerbals. As the satellite passes over the Russian continent. The flight is proceeding nominal so far. As it passes over the Eurasian continent, the data gained from this spacecraft will also help scientists around the world learn about their planet from scanning it with radar. We have several launch windows in the next month. We have a launch window in the next month. We have a Mercury window in 33 days, a Mercury transfer window. And that will be launched aboard an Epix Heavy. The Interplan 1 space probe. The satellites in orbit already have long-range communications gear capability. And here you can see the satellite with the Centaur flying below. As it flies over the Earth's surface at an inclination of 87 degrees. The spacecraft is passing over the Gulf of... I don't know. It's passing over some gulf and is moving now down into the lower reaches of Earth, passing over the Antarctic continent and back up into the Pacific Ocean. As it passes back over Alaska and back into the daylight. And over the African continent, back down to Antarctica. Taking scans of Earth, passing over the European continent. I will say this has been Andy Epix, and thank you for watching this latest launch from the Realistic Design Bureau, Epix launch vehicle with ScanSat 1.